Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about doing it all. I think you know what I mean by doing it all. You have this list of things that you want to do, you have this certain lifestyle in your mind that you want to achieve, and you think you can just do it all, and you want to know what the secret is to doing it all. Here's the secret. You can do anything you want, but you can't do everything you want. That's what it boils down to. You can have and do this, or this, or this. But I think that we tend to think we can have or do this, and this, and this. It doesn't work that way. There is no way to do it all. It just doesn't exist. We set up these expectations and standards in our heads and we think we can achieve them, but they're actually usually pretty unrealistic. We need to look at the things that we want and then pick, because you just can't have everything. You just can't. And when I say have everything, I'm talking about the standards that we put on ourselves. For example, my kids are going to be perfectly behaved, I'm going to entertain them with elaborate craft activities, we're going to go lots of fun places, my house is going to be perfectly clean and tidy and organized all of the time, and I'm going to have a little side gig and earn money for my family as well, and I'm going to be able to have girls' nights out and spend time out with my friends, go out to lunch, and I'm going to be able to go and have my nails done and my hair done, and I'm going to be able to grow all of my own food, and I'm going to be able to preserve that food and cook from scratch. Of course you can do many of those things, but I just don't believe you can do all of those things, at least not all in the same season. I want you to know that if you try and do all of these things, you may succeed. You may be able to cram all of these things into your life, but I promise you, you're not going to feel fulfilled. You're not going to do all of them, possibly any of them particularly well, and you're just going to end up feeling frazzled. I mentioned seasons. You can probably do all of these things, but not in the same season. Now, I have been told that my house is perfect and clean and tidy and organized, and you guys have seen me gardening and I'm growing flowers and vegetables and all these things, but I don't have little kids. When my kids were little, my house was a disaster, nothing was organized, it was untidy all of the time, and I didn't grow a single thing in my garden. There's just no way to do everything all at once. And I promise you, my house may look clean and tidy in some of the things I've shared online, but you guys have seen the vlogs, you know that it's not always clean and tidy. Even when it's tidy, it's not always clean. One of the reasons I wanted to make this video is because I sometimes get comments or emails or comments on my blog about how I do it all, or I have it all, or my life is perfect, and that's just not true. And I don't want you guys thinking that that's true, or thinking that that's true of anybody that you see on the internet. I promise you, no matter how perfect and polished somebody's life looks as they present it on the internet, I promise you it isn't. Nobody is perfect, nobody's life is perfect, and nobody does it all, not without a whole lot of help. My advice would be to analyze, why do you want to have it all? Get to the root of where that desire comes from. Is it pride? Is it guilt? I've got a whole nother video on guilt planned. I do have a video on pride if you want to watch that, and I will link that above here. Is it perfectionism, which is rooted in pride? Is it peer pressure, possibly also rooted in pride? Find out why you want to have it all, and then eradicate that if it's a problem. It's not always a problem. Before I became ill with Hashimoto's and adrenal fatigue and had to kind of rethink my life, I used to want to have it all just because I was interested and passionate about so many things, and I wanted to explore those passions and do those things and delve into what excited me and what interested me. So it's not always a negative thing that may be prompting that desire to have it all, but just examine what is at the root of it, and if it's something that doesn't serve you well, root it out. Each one of us is given 24 hours in a day and 7 days in a week. We all have exactly the same amount of time. We each choose to use that time differently. So make a list of all of the things that you want to fit into that time, divide up your time to slot those things in, and if there is not enough time, you have too many things on your list, something has to go. that's just life. There's no secret to cramming all these extra things in or making extra time appear. It just doesn't work like that. If you have too much to fit in, something has to go. You need to be clear about something. You always have a choice. Unless you're living in slavery, in which case I'm wondering why you're watching YouTube. You actually have a choice about your life. And we say things like, I didn't have a choice, I had to do such and such. You always have a choice. If your child is at school and breaks their arm and you have to drop everything and go and pick them up, you're like, I didn't have a choice. He broke his arm, I had to go and collect him. Of course you have a choice. It's not a pleasant choice. You could have left him there, you could have phoned somebody else to collect him, but maybe those aren't what you would want to do. Your priority is your child, and so you made the choice to go and collect your child. It's still a choice, even though it doesn't feel like one at the time. Your choices reflect your priorities. How you spend your time reflects your priorities, or should reflect your priorities. I heard an example online, I can't remember where it was shared, but it was a woman who was super busy and she had so much on her plate, and she was working full-time outside of the home, and she was on the PTA and I don't know what all. She was super busy, and if you had said to her, I need you to devote 7 hours this week to a project, she would have said, I don't have the time. I just don't have the time, because she didn't. Her time was chock-a-block, fully scheduled. But something in her home happened. I think she got a flood in her basement and she had to sort that out. It was urgent and it became a priority, and it took her about 7 hours that week to sort it out, with contractors coming in, insurance and whatnot. So because that became a priority, she managed to find those 7 hours that she just didn't have before. And that is how it works. You will find time for the things that really matter to you. But remember what I said about you can't have it all. I've got mums watching this, I'm sure, who have young children and would like to read more, and they say that's really important to me, that is a priority, but I literally don't have the time for it. That's because you can't do it all at the same time. In your particular season, your priority is your child or your children, and that is time consuming, and that is energy consuming, and it's exhausting, and it's draining, and you're busy. So maybe you can't fit in reading right now, you can't have it all, but maybe in a different season you'll be doing a lot of reading. You still have a choice. You could possibly pay for daycare and then sit and read all day. You could ignore your children and sit and read all day. Do you see where I'm going with this? How you spend your time and the choices you make reflect your priorities. Think carefully about that, and think carefully about how you're spending your time, and then ask yourself, are these things actually priorities that I'm spending my time on? I made this video as much for myself as for anybody else. You guys have heard me talk about it in my faves and fails and in vlogs about how busy the last couple months have gone, that my head is spinning and I'm standing going, how did this happen? What is happening to my life that things are just being thrown at me left, right and center, and I'm having to respond? And feeling like I don't have choices. You know, I'm being given, for example, a hospital appointment, and that is when I have to go and that is where I have to be. I still have a choice. I can cancel that appointment and not show up, or I can show up at that date and time. That reflects a priority for me. So I'm reminding myself of all of these things when I'm making this video. I'm reminding myself of how to spend my time, how to look at how I'm spending my time, and reminding myself that I can't have it all. And I'm hoping that this was helpful for somebody out there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on having it all and doing it all. Please comment down below and I will try and reply to as many of you as I can. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.